You ever had one of those moments where everything in your life is going just fine, and then out of nowhere, some neighbor with way too much time on their hands decides they're going to be the boss of your life? Yeah, that's pretty much how my wife's first day home from deployment went. I'm Luke. I'm a former Army guy turned remote tech consultant. My wife, Natalie, is a Navy commander. Just got back from an 8-month tour aboard the USS Jackson. And all we wanted was a quiet Saturday morning, some sunflowers, and a warm welcome home. Instead, we got sirens, clipboard threats, and a woman named Beverly who thought she was the sheriff of our cul-de-sac. Now Beverly, she's 63, retired, and fancies herself the watchdog of Hawthorne Ridge, which really just means she glares out the window all day waiting for somebody to leave their trash bins out too long so she can take pictures and send strongly worded emails to the HOA. You know the type. That morning, Natalie pulled up in her silver SUV at exactly 10:43 a.m. I remember that time like a wedding anniversary. I was on the porch with a bouquet of sunflowers hiding behind my back, heart pounding like I was a teenager again. When she stepped out in her dress whites, that smile on her face, 8 months of lonely dinners and late-night video calls just melted away. I ran to her like an idiot and spun her around like it was a movie. For a moment, we were the only two people on the planet. And then, Beverly appeared, popped up from behind her hedge like a prairie dog with a vendetta. "Stop right there!" she screeched, waving a clipboard like it was a federal warrant. "You are not going into that house until that illegal hedge is removed." We turned, confused. I looked at the hedge. It was 4 feet tall, neatly trimmed, green as spring. We'd had it approved by the HOA months ago, with Beverly's signature, by the way. Natalie blinked, trying to compute what was happening. "Excuse me?" she asked in full Navy bearing. "That monstrosity violates 7 different neighborhood codes," Beverly barked, holding up a stack of laminated pages like she was citing the Constitution. "I've measured it from every angle. I've taken photographs. I've been documenting for months. You two are not above the law just because you wear a uniform." I stepped in, keeping my voice even. "Ma'am, the hedge was approved by the HOA. You signed the approval form yourself." "Expired!" she shrieked. "New safety regulations. Your approval is void. I'm calling the police." And she did. Right then and there, she called 911 and claimed a military officer was threatening her. A 63-year-old widow, helpless and afraid. You could hear the performance in her voice, like she was auditioning for a soap opera. 5 minutes later, Officer Daniels pulled up. Now, Daniels isn't new to this neighborhood circus. 15 years on the force, and he's seen it all. HOA drama, porch pirate stings, raccoon standoffs. But the moment he stepped out of the cruiser and saw Natalie in uniform, everything changed. His posture shifted. His voice softened. "Commander, thank you for your service. What seems to be the issue?" Beverly stormed in before Natalie could answer. "She's using her military status to intimidate civilians. I feel unsafe in my own home." Natalie, calm as always, pulled a manila folder from her bag. "Officer, here is the HOA approval form for our hedge. Signed, dated, and with Mrs. Beverly Whitmore's signature right here." Daniels took one look and raised an eyebrow. "Ma'am, is this your signature?" Beverly froze. That was under entirely different circumstances." That's when Daniels dropped the line I'll never forget. "Commander, given your leadership background, how do you suggest we handle this situation?" It was like watching someone deflate. Beverly turned a shade of crimson that matched her roses, mouth flapping like a broken sprinkler. The neighbors started peeking through blinds. One guy 2 doors down even started filming. It was glorious. But it wasn't over. That evening, we got an email. "Emergency HOA meeting, mandatory attendance. 7 p.m., topic community safety violations. Natalie looked at me and sighed. This isn't about the hedge. She wasn't wrong. Turns out Beverly had spent the whole day whispering poison into people's ears, calling neighbors, spinning lies about Natalie, said she had a military entitlement complex, that she was unstable, claimed our hedge was a symbol of lawlessness. We walked into the meeting room the next evening, and it felt like a courtroom drama. Beverly had arranged 8 chairs in a semicircle, projector screen set up, presentation ready to go. You'd think we were on trial for treason. She opened with a speech. Our peaceful community is under threat. We must stand up to those who abuse their authority and undermine our values. Then she showed slides. Photos of our hedge taken at night to make it look menacing, fake statistics about property values, and a quote, supposedly from Natalie, saying she didn't answer to civilians. It was all a lie, a very well-rehearsed lie. But Natalie, she didn't flinch. When it was her turn to speak, she didn't yell, didn't cry. She opened her laptop and calmly displayed the same approval form, the emails Beverly had sent praising our hedge months earlier, and this part was chef's kiss, our HOA's bylaws. According to Section 4.2, only elected HOA officers can call an emergency meeting. Mrs. Beverly Whitmore holds no such position. Dead silence. One neighbor turned to Beverly. You told me she'd forged those documents. Another shook her head. You said her hedge was full of rats. Then Beverly did the one thing you should never do when you're losing ground. She went on live TV. Local Channel 8 aired an interview that night. Beverly, in full makeup and pearls, crying about military bullying. Said Natalie screamed at her, said we threatened to tear down her house, claimed she feared for her life. But the reporter wasn't buying it. Mrs. Whitmore, she asked, didn't you approve the hedge? And Beverly, God bless her, said the quiet part out loud. I don't care where she served. Some of us have lived here our whole lives. That should matter more than some ship she was on. Public opinion turned instantly. Veterans across the state started reposting the clip with one message: we stand with Commander Rivera. Natalie's inbox filled with support. The VFW sent a letter of appreciation. Her CO called and said, you've handled this with more honor than most people would. But Beverly, she didn't stop. Next morning, she posted a viral Facebook rant accusing Natalie of military intimidation, said we threatened her with covert tactics, even tried to get her reassigned. Then, the real reason came out. A real estate developer knocked on our door the next day. Mrs. Rivera, your hedge blocks Beverly's view of the upcoming Crosswinds shopping center. That view would have added nearly $300,000 to her home's value. She contacted us months ago asking for development timelines and sightline analysis. We suspect she approved your hedge knowing she'd try to reverse it later. So yeah, it was never about community rules. It was about money. Pure greed. But karma, as they say, writes the best scripts. Because of the public scandal, Beverly's house lost massive value. No one wanted to buy the Karen house. Her listing dropped 3 times. She sold it for $200,000 under market, and to a military family no less. A young Air Force couple moved in, planted sunflowers, and built a new fence taller than ours. I won't lie, it felt good. And as for Natalie, she got promoted. Full commander. The HOA held a block party in her honor. They even planted a little garden around our infamous hedge, now affectionately nicknamed the Liberty Line. 6 months later, we ran into Beverly at a grocery store 3 towns over. She looked smaller, older. I'm sorry, she said, barely above a whisper. I lost everything because I couldn't see past my own front yard. Natalie smiled. I hope you find peace. That matters more than property lines. Now, Every time I sit on our porch and watch the sunset behind that hedge, I think about how far one little plant took us. Greed built the war, but truth won it. So now I've got to ask, what would you have done in our shoes? Would you have stood your ground, or just cut the hedge and walked away? Let me know in the comments. I'm real curious. And hey, if you've ever faced off against a power-tripping neighbor, HOA nightmare, or just a good old-fashioned suburban showdown, hit that like button and subscribe. You'd be surprised how much drama lives right outside your front door.